So I was at my local Target today and I finally found a new Sonic figure that I at least don't have. And it is Vector, the crocodile. And here we have him. And I'm happy because I've been looking for this guy for 2 weeks. We have him here. We can finally review him. Unfortunately, I don't have Espo yet. Hopefully in the near future. So I'm sorry to say I can't do a comparison with those two figures right now. Whenever I get him, I'll try and do a review and we'll get it then. But for now, we're looking at Vector. Anyways, hello and welcome to an Not So Awesome review. And today we're looking at the Sonic the Hedgehog Vector action figure by Jakks Pacific. And this figure is huge. At least for Jakks Pacific, this is huge. He takes up pretty much the entire bubble in the packaging. So yeah, good size, same price, which I love that they didn't raise it for this figure, unlike some other companies. But anyways, this figure does come with one accessory, which is the 10 count ring. Don't really care. It's all right. It's always good to have extra accessories from the Sonic franchise, from the video games and everything. But it's probably my least favorite accessory. Yeah, not really much to say. I'll just remove it from his hand right here. You can see it does have the 10 on both the front and the back. It's meant to be gold, but it looks more mustardy, and it does have a little peg hole on the bottom in case you want to peg it into anything. So anyways, gonna move that to the side. And we're gonna focus on Vector here, whose body looks amazing. The sculpting on him came out pretty perfect, honestly, if you ask me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Jakks always knows how to translate these video game figures into action figure form, and this guy's no exception with the big hands, the face, the eyes, the chain necklace and everything, the headphones, all of it looks great. Paint could be better, and we're going to talk about that in a second here, but articulation, not too bad. It's not the greatest. Again, we're going to talk about that in a second, but overall, if you're just wondering, just right off the bat, is he worth it? Yes, for a $10 figure, he is more than worth it. Yes, pick it up if you are a fan, if you like the team, or if you're a casual Sonic fan, you're looking at this figure like, he looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'd probably still say go for it. But anyways, once again, let's talk about paint, because he does have some issues, specifically here on the tail on mine, where you can see it's sprayed a little bit weird for some reason. It didn't come out the best. It's like they did a spray on it and it's speckled and everything. It's only on the tail. The tail actually is a different shade of green than the body. I don't mind it. It would be cooler if it was a little bit more gradient. But yeah, the top green doesn't match. The bottom green, it's glossy. It matches, but it's glossy, so it kind of doesn't match. If that makes any sense. Like a glossy surface will look one way, a matted surface will look another way, even if it's the same color. So that's probably why the tail also looks off, because it's a matted color and not glossy. So whatever they did there, it's different. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Aside from that, other paint kind of defects, if you want to talk about it, just a little bit of overspraying on the headphones and on the arms and everything, but it's not a big deal. Honestly, for a $10 figure, it's what you expect. It's what you expect from Jakks. It's not the perfect paint job. It is perfect enough for the price point. Articulation, he's not bad. I do wish we had some body movement, but he does have articulation in other places that kind of, I guess, make up for it, you could say. So let's start off with that. He does have movement at the head. He can look left, he can look right. I don't want to say he can go all the way around, but let's test it. And he can go all the way around. Wouldn't recommend it. Gets really tight back there, but can look left and right. He can open his mouth and close his mouth, and his mouth does have some really nice detail in there, which is great. His tail does rotate around. Of course, if you rotate it, it breaks the mold, but it is there for if you want to do it. Fortunately, no up or down in the head, which would have been awesome. I think that's the only thing missing from this figure, is really the up and down. I could forgive the body part if you could look up and down, left and right. I think it would have made for some really cool, creative posing, but it is what it is, I suppose. Arms can only go down so far, which is unfortunate. I wish they could go down a little bit more so we can get like some crossed arm poses. Unfortunately, not really going to happen, but you know, you can dream, right? Anyways, they can go up, rotate all the way around. We do have that rotation at the wrist as well as that hinge. It does 90 degrees. Then we do have rotation at the glove itself. The actual black part here isn't rotatable, but the glove itself does rotate and move a little bit. The legs can move out basically all the way down, forward and back. We do have rotation and a little bit of movement, but not much at the actual ankle itself. He is a little front heavy. You know, he's a crocodile. He comes out towards the nose and mouth and everything. So be aware that he can fall forward if you don't pose him, you know, perfectly fine. And unfortunately, unlike Tails, you can't really fix his back tail to kind of support him, but he can end up like wanting to lean forward. Right now, he's actually doing a pretty good job of just not falling. But yeah, no real issues there. I do like that he has that head movement, because without it, honestly, it would have limited his posing so much more. But with it, you know, you can get some decent posing. Not as much as I would like. Again, I feel like an up and down pose with the head would have been better. Rotation at the body, I don't feel like we absolutely need it because we do have the head movement, so I'm okay with that. Tail, again, not really much I could say about it. If it was rubber, cool, but then that tends to break. Feet, yeah, I wish he had knee articulation, but a figure this size, he'd probably just fall over, so I can kind of forgive them on that one. Overall, not a bad figure articulation-wise, or sculpt-wise. Definitely not sculpt-wise. Sculpt-wise, A+, honestly. As for some size comparisons, here he is next to Sonic, and let's put out Knuckles. Will you fit here in frame? Yes, you will, but I will move the camera anyway, so you guys can get a little bit of a better look. Like I said, he does kind of tower over everybody. He's definitely bigger than Knuckles, bigger than Sonic. Do love the size on this figure. He's probably one of the biggest figures, if not the biggest figure we've gotten. I mean, Robotnik is pretty tall, and Amy is taller than she should be, and Silver's things go up pretty high. But I think he's still the tallest one we have so far, which is accurate, awesome. Actually, there's one we could test out that's actually big. And here we have Omega, who is probably just a little bit bigger by the shoulders, taller anyway. He is wider and somewhat more bulkier and everything, but both very big figures. Very close. I think Omega wins this round just by a little bit, but Vector isn't too far off. The fact that these two figures cost only $10 retail, I have to give it to Jakks. That's a great deal, especially considering the inflation with other companies, and they were able to keep this at regular price. Absolutely love it. Both, again, really big figures. I feel like this is going to be your best comparison when it comes to size, so you kind of know what you're getting here. Omega definitely taller by the shoulder pads, I should say. I think head-wise, they might be just about equal. And when you put Vector's arms out, I want to say he stands wider. So unless you have him pose, he will have a little bit of a wider presence, but not by much, honestly. If I can just line these up, it's so close. You can kind of see right there that they kind of just cover each other. So yeah, it's very close, but I think Omega definitely wins that round just by a little bit, but there you go. And lastly, here he is next to Shadow and Classic Sonic, so you guys can get a little bit of a comparison, see how it goes. This is the Sonic from the same wave, in case you're wondering. Review is up for that guy if you want to see it. I do think he's worth it. Spoilers, there you go. Anyways, so like I said in the beginning, this figure is definitely worth the purchase. Just size alone, I think it's awesome. He definitely has somewhat of a shelf presence, if you want to call it that. Articulation could be better. I do wish he could at least almost cross his hands or something similar to that. I do wish we had the knee articulation. The movie figures have it. There's really no excuse at this point for the video game figures to not have it, if I'm being completely honest. It would have definitely helped with some posing with this guy. I do wish he could look up and down. I can kind of understand that one be a little bit harder to do than the knees. But yeah, just the lack of articulation, it bugs me. It disappoints me, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a great figure. I do recommend it. I really like it, and I will have to try and find somewhere to put him with my other figures because I'm already running out of room. But aside from that, again, recommend it. It's awesome. Check your local Targets. They've been hitting the shelves for the last 2 weeks. Finally found one today. And yeah, I just, once again, definitely recommend it. Not really much else to say here other than I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully Espo and some of the other figures coming at some point if I find them, if I pick them up. Definitely want to pick up Ray, but haven't seen him. Yeah, just pretty much that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And I will see you all later. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.